This is a glimpse into the future. It's what the New York City subway could look like in just a few years. These are the designs on display inside the Transit Museum at Grand Central Terminal. Here's a glimpse of reality: crowded subways, service delays, and a threat of a fare hike. MTA CEO Lee Sander was expecting more aid from President Barack Obama's stimulus package.
The amount of money dedicated to transit nationally was reduced to about $8 billion. And we expect that New York will see about $1 billion of the $8 billion.
The billion is destined for old projects, which won't help the new ones like the Second Avenue subway. That's expected to cost more than $4 billion. Phase 1 of the project is scheduled for completion in 2015, but MTA Sander has his doubts about that deadline.
It depends upon what the legislature does. If the legislature doesn't give us the money to complete the first piece of Second Avenue and East Side Access, then we won't have the money to do them.
Proposals to build the Second Avenue subway line date back to the 1920s. Efforts were made to build the subway in the 1940s and again in the 1970s, but they were never completed.
The reason was money, and money could stop another project in its tracks: the 7-train extension from Times Square to 11th Avenue. The deadline for completion is 2013. Wiley Norville for Transportation Alternatives, a transportation advocacy group, says that the MTA should get its priorities straight.
It's like deciding between two of your children. I mean, it's just as important that we expand the system as it is to maintain a state of good repair. If we had to choose, though, as an organization, we would probably lean more towards the state of good repair, completing the 7-train extension while stations are crumbling in Brooklyn is kind of like building an addition on a crumbling house.
While the MTA shows off its glossy plans for the future, the reality is that funding remains uncertain. And the situation may be getting worse. Because of the slowing economy, ridership dipped last month, meaning less revenue for the MTA. Transit officials recently announced severe cuts on weekend service, and there are threats of a fare increase of up to 25%. Transportation advocates agree with the MTA on one thing: everyone's going to have to pay. Washington, Albany, and New York City subway riders. Maya Pope Chappelle, New York City News Service.